Good morning, everyone. We'll just wait for maybe a couple of minutes for more people to join. Thank you for joining us on this very special day. Tomorrow, the 28th of August, is the Emirati Women's Day. It's a day that was set by Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak to celebrate the women of the UAE. This day celebrates Emirati women's efforts, achievements, and contribution to the growth and development of the nation. This day coincides with the establishment of the UAE General Women's Union back in 1975 that was headed by Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak. This year's mantra of the celebration is preparing for the next 50 years. Women are the support of the nation. This mantra is in line with the nationwide goals of the UAE. After it was announced at the end of 2019 that the year 2020 would be a year that marks a year of preparation, this is to ready the nation for the UAE's Golden Jubilee next year. Her Highness Sheikha Fatima has stressed that Emirati women have proven to everyone that they are capable of supporting the country under all circumstances. And on this special occasion, we have a host of amazing Emirati women leaders from various sectors who have joined us to share their views on this special occasion. And I will take my time to read their bios and introduce them because I'm really proud of each and every one of them, all of their work, their hard work, their commitment and contribution to our nation. We have with us today Shada Al-Hashmi. Shada is a strategy and policy development professional with extensive experience working in both local and federal governments. Her recent role as an advisor at the UAE Prime Minister Office is focused towards planning for the next decade to 50 years of the nation. Prior to this post, Shada was the director of Mohammed bin Rashid Government Innovation Center at the Prime Minister Office, where she was leading the design, development, and implementation of the UAE innovation strategy for all sectors in the federal government. Shada is passionate about innovation in public sector, entrepreneurship, and youth development. She's a certified coach from Henley Business School, University of Reading, a mentor for a Harvard University incoming students, a Harvard Graduate School of Education ambassador. We also have Shamsa Al-Falasi. Shamsa was appointed as the head of Global Subsidiaries Group for GCC and Iraq on 30th April 2018 with Citibank. It's part of Citi's core client coverage group based in the UAE. She's also the vice president of the general board of the American Business Council and co-chair of Citi Women's Network in the UAE and Citi Women's Leadership and Development Program Community Ambassador. Prior to her current role, Shamsa was the GSG head for UAE and Iraq since December 2015. She also performed duties as the Senior Business and Relation Manager for MENA-T region based in the UAE, supporting the relationship managers and country heads to ensure that they are on track to deliver plans. We also have Khadija Al-Marzougi. She is a veteran of creating and managing digital content and currently holding the position of Editor-in-Chief of UAE's two popular websites, Dubai Post and Emirates 24/7, that creates amazing stories for the audience. Khadija has founded, launched, and managed and operated two radio stations, Dubai FM Radio and Noor Dubai Radio. She's a prominent speaker and moderator at various government forums and events. I would like to start with Shada Al-Hashmi. Shada, can you talk to us about the plan for the next 50 years and what does it mean to the women from the UAE?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Raja, for the invitation. I'm honored to be speaking among these panelists today, very inspirational colleagues working in the workforce in the UAE. In a very unique way of working in the UAE government, you will notice that every year there is an overarching theme that all the government entities and the nation is working towards. We were lucky that that started back in 2015 when the president, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, Allah yahfadha, announced that 2015 is the year of innovation. And then later on, it was the year of our founding father, and then it was the year of reading and the year of giving and so on. And in December 2019, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai, and His Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and the Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, announced that 2020 is going to be the year of preparing for the next 50 years of this nation. The theme towards the next 50 will witness the launch of a big national strategy to prepare the country for the coming 50 years and for its Golden Jubilee celebration in December of 2021. The federal and local governments are going to join efforts to collaborate, and also individuals from all aspects of the society will be included to contribute to that plan. The plan covers various sectors such as economy, education, infrastructure, society, health, media, and so many other aspects. There were two committees that were formed to supervise this. One, the first committee is chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mansour, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Presidential Affairs. He's chairing a committee that will oversee the building of this comprehensive plan. The other committee is going to oversee the golden celebration of this nation. By this theme, the UAE is preparing for the future, and it's preparing towards foreseeing the future of this nation, maintaining its success, sustaining it as well, and also planning for any other goals and aspiration that we're going to have towards the 50 years. So it's a very strong start, and I hope so many of you do be able to contribute to this plan.
Thank you, Shada. What does that mean to the women of the UAE, the women of the nation, the different roles they play, whether they're in corporate, whether they are housewives, whether they're in education? What does that mean to every woman in the UAE?
Well, the progress achieved by so many women in the UAE is part of the vision of its leadership that believe in empowering people and empowering the nation. This journey continues, and everyone is responsible for raising talented generations and educating them. I believe that as a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, every one of us is playing a very important role to inspire the people around them, you know, starting with their small unit as a family and then going into the future. Even the women who are staying at home, raising future generations is not an easy task. And I think, you know, the values of the UAE, and also with everyone living over here, the diversity, you know, the cohesive society that we're living in, everyone can have a chance to contribute in the various sectors, being the private sector or the government sector as well.
Thank you, Shada. Khadija, since you are closer to the public through the media, digital content creation, how do you see that translate to the public, to the residents and the communities in the UAE?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me, first of all. I think from a media perspective, we see a lot of achievement, and there is always this message that comes from the leadership that it's a partnership between men and women. It's a partnership between government and private sector. It's a partnership between the leadership and the communities. And we can see that across all the messages that we get from the leadership, and we try to convey through content creation. One thing that I would say is what we see on ground is amazing. I mean, the community that we could create in the last 50 years is something that we want to grow for the next 50 years. We have people from everybody, from everywhere, and everybody is participating in creating this community and being part of this country and being loyal to it and feeling that this is their home, and they want to do things for this country. They want to be part of it. They want to have their families here. They want to have their children grow up here. So we can see that on ground. And as media, we notice that because we tell people stories. And when we go out and we see all these stories and how people talk passionately about this country is amazing. And it's part of our strategy is to convey that to media and to try to make it more apparent and more focused for the next 50 years also.
Khadija, the UAE has created an inclusive and diversified culture and environment for people from all over the world to co-live with the Tolerance Initiative, with the multicultural aspects of it. How do you see from the contribution from these diverse communities from the media perspective? I know that all the stories that go on the social media network, especially the ones that are shared with the Dubai Post, I also receive them from my international friends who are in banking or in hospitality sectors. They're really connected with the stories. What was the vision behind Dubai Post to share the news in a storytelling kind of way? And what is the ultimate objective?
The ultimate objective is to show what you said, is that this is a community that everybody contributes to and everybody feels that they belong to it. And that's a rare thing to see in any community in any country, that everybody feels that even though that they come from different backgrounds, they come from different countries, they have different nationalities, but they come here and they feel like they are home. And that's important. And we saw it through a lot of the stories that we created in Dubai Post. 3 years ago, we said, we achieved a lot, we did a lot. But still, Raja, a lot of the Western media, a lot of the other media, let's say, and other countries look at us as a country of infrastructure, a country of the number one, a country of buildings, a country of... They never saw the human side or the story side of our nation. So the idea was to focus on that, to give that to shed more light on these stories. And what we could do in the last 3 years, I think it was amazing, because there's a lot of stories here. This country was built on people's passion, starting from Sheikh Rashid and the people around Sheikh Rashid, and then Sheikh Zayed also, and the people around Sheikh Zayed. Both of them were very welcoming. And a lot of people from different nationalities helped building this country, helped building this city as Dubai, helped building UAE. So it was very important for us to show that. And it's amazing to see, to do a story about an Indian family who are now third generation in Dubai, who been part of this city, who have a shop in Ras, and they feel that this is their country, and they feel that they contributed to this country. It's amazing to see a family from Iraq, let's say, who've been here and been part of this country and worked as, let's say, engineers or worked as traders in this country and built this country. So it was very important for us in Dubai Post to show all of these stories. And even people who came 5 years ago and 3 years ago, they still contribute to this country. They still feel that this is their country and they want to continue to be here in the next 20, 30 years. And it's very important to have their opinion also showed in media and to show how they feel the love to this country. If I go through the stories, Raj, there is a lot of stories, but it's the one thing that we notice across all of the stories, how passionate people are to UAE and how loyal they are to this country and how much they feel that this is home to them.
Thank you, Khadija. Obviously, today we have an amazing mix between private and government and media participants. And that takes me to Shamsa. Shamsa, you have been with Citi for a while now, and Citi is a global corporate with the focus on empowering women, specifically here in the UAE. Could you please share with us the initiatives that you are involved in with the city to support, grow, and develop women within the financial services sector?
Definitely. First of all, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Raja, for this opportunity. Indeed, happy Emirati Women's Day for everyone. As you rightly mentioned, I've been with Citi for over 16 years with local and international journey. So, and as you highlighted, I'm also part of the Women Network. I'm actually the co-chair with the head of consumer banking. So it's an extremely important journey that I've been through Citi. And I like to look at Citi, and I've always mentioned that as a school. So one of the topics that I would like to mention and expand on is that, first of all, I'm extremely proud to be where I am today. And just to put things into perspective, I'm the most senior UAE female in the bank. And when I joined the bank 16 years ago, actually, most of these senior positions were held by our male colleagues. So I've always questioned, and we had a lot of females at the time, eager, and they had a lot of ambitious to grow and to prosper within the financial institutions. And with the direction we're getting from Citi globally, I'm happy to mention that nowadays we do have a few CEO females in the region. We even have the very first chairwoman in the region globally, which is fantastic because Citi is in more than 100 countries. So some of the topics that I wanted to touch base on is important in terms of the collaboration and the ongoing support of female leaders. And when I talk about the support of female leaders, we've been looking at different topics, including the focus on diversity, whether it's gender diversity, as well as the regular mentorship and coaching programs that we put in place to ensure that we have the right caliber prepared for senior positions when they come up. One of the things that I wanted to highlight, and it's extremely important for us to pause and reflect on every now and then, the important saying by late His Highness Sheikh Zayed, women is half of the society. So if we pause every now and then and reflect, it would position us in a different way to support other fellow female as well as try and continue to empower them. Empowerment is extremely important because we grow when the society grows. We grow when people learn and stay on the right track. So a lot of these things that we go through with the challenges that we face on a daily basis are extremely important for us to continue our vision for the next 50 years. So this is what we're doing from a UAE perspective. Having said that, there are always programs, as you've mentioned. We have Citi Women Leadership and Development Program, whereby it's very specific to female colleagues with the specific topics to ensure that they are on the right track as well.
Amazing contribution and news from Citi. Thank you so much, Shamsa. I believe being in the UAE, we're really fortunate to have the opportunity to contribute to the development of our nation, to the private or the government sectors. We have the opportunity to grow our careers within these institutions. There is a lot of awareness that is going on around about the importance of diversity, the contribution that is created by women, and looking at the different initiatives between starting from the UAE Al-Ittihad al-Nisa'i General Union back in 1975, headed by Sheikha Fatima herself, looking at the gender balance initiative headed by Sheikha Manal bint Mohammed bin Rashid, and recently Sheikha Shirma bint Sultan bin Khalifa Al Nahyan just launched the 20 board initiative through the board summit, which is a clear demonstration of the importance that women play in the contribution of the economy, contribution of the nation, and the support that we have, whether from our leadership, our corporates, that is really empowering us to do so. However, Shamsa, I think you and I both agree we have much less female representation in the financial services sector. I just want to point out that In the DIFC, we run a female talent accelerator program called Accelerate Her, and that is a program that is focused on developing potential female leaders within the financial services sector with strong exposure to innovation and technology. And we have strong industry support for this initiative. We have amazing participants in the program. We've already graduated 12 ladies last year, and we have 14 in the cohort this year. What can we do from your view, Shamsa, to increase women participation in financial services sector?
Definitely. That's great, first of all, to hear the great news and all the progress that the DIFC is making. I guess it's been timely because the interesting part is that the governor of the Central Bank of the UAE introduced in the celebration of the Emirati Women's Day that they will be collaborating with the Women Union to come up with initiatives specific to the financial and banking sector going forward. So we're really looking forward to that. Having said that, I mean, we do play a major role in terms of one, trying to be role models to the new generation. Secondly, actively seeking talents and caliber to bring them into the banking and financial institute. So for example, we've seen a lot of specific graduate programs that takes place. As an example, City has Mihnati program for UAE nationals, and it's mixed. It's not specific to females. Having said that, we've managed over the past 5 years to identify a lot of strong candidates that can proactively grow and progress within the banking institute. What we also do from a financial sector perspective, we work closely with the Emirates Institute for Banking and Finance to ensure that our colleagues, whether they're Emiratis or our international colleagues, have active set of trainings on regular basis. That's extremely important in terms of their development, as well as their progress within the banking sector. All of these initiatives that take place are extremely important for us to keep on building on the strong foundation that we have in place. And obviously with the initiatives, and as you rightly mentioned, there has been a lot of things driven by Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak, whereby there has been a lot of empowerment programs that are taking place. And the collaboration with the Women Union is a great example of how the next 50 years will look like, because there will be a lot of empowerment in the financial sector, and it will help the efforts in terms of increasing the number of female colleagues in the financial sector as well.
How about the media, Khadija? Do we have enough female representation in terms of a media sector from digital sector? How can we encourage more women to take up roles in these kind of activities?
I mean, media is like any other sector. We have still a lot to do in Emiratization overall and women's in media. I personally am not very fond of the term empowerment because it shows that there is no power, so you need to empower. That's a different I think, conversation. But we actually lack a lot of women in this industry. As I said, it's more of an Emiratization. Men and women, we have to work still a lot and getting them into the media sector. The thing with the media sector is very time consuming. You are 24/7 on call almost, and it's a very crucial and very delicate, industry and business. And it needs a lot of, I always say the first 5 years of your life in media, you should forget your social life, because this is the 5 foundation years, and you need to work hard, prove yourself, get your stories out. And it takes a lot of people's time. So we see a lot, to be honest, we see a lot of people coming in, especially the fresh graduates, staying for 1 year, 2 years, then leaving media. And there is a lot of other opportunities in the government and the private sector with these talented people that they can go, and even in social media that they can go and do their own things. So we still need to do a lot in media. And the leadership, I think we have a couple of good women representing women in media, but we still also need more. I remember 4 years ago, maybe I was one of the 2 first editor-in-chief, maybe third, maybe there were 3 or 4 editor-in-chiefs across the last 50 years, women. So now we have, I would say now we are 4. So you have the National, you have Gulf, and you have in Sharjah, and you have Al Bayan, and you have Dubai Post. We want to see more women as editor-in-chiefs. We want to see more women in leading position across media, not only in digital or in print. And as I said, this is something that we need to work on.
Thank you, Khadija. But what would be your advice to young Emirati women to take a more active role in the society and leveraging on all the opportunities? What would you say to them?
Generally, I would say, not only in media, in any sector, as much as you can, get experience. Do things, go volunteer, get into business groups, work. Because getting experience, getting and conversation with people, networking, that will give you, especially if you are fresh graduates, especially if you are, like, as I said, the first 5 foundation years of your career, you need to do everything and anything, to be honest. That was always my advice when I was in radio. The first 5 years is where we did all kinds of shows. We did sport shows, we did community-based shows, we did talk shows, we did entertainment shows, till you find your way, till you find your path, and then okay, I like sports, so I will focus on sports, or I like talk shows, I will focus on talk shows. So the first 5 years, my advice to any woman is do everything, get experience, do whatever you can, volunteer, and that will build for the next 5 years. The other thing that I would advise is, if you get an opportunity to be in a mentorship program, take that opportunity. I'm happy to see that there's a couple of mentorship programs there, but I don't see that they're much in the government. Mentorship is very important. I want to see more mentorship programs in the government and private and in the region, because it will help women guide women. It will help anyone who is in a mentorship program to speed up their progress, to speed up their career, to feel that somebody's guiding them. Because a lot of people also, especially maybe I'll talk from a government perspective, being in government for so long, some people, they stand still. They're in this position for 10 years, 15 years. They don't feel even the need to grow. They're just like, we are happy in our comfort zone, which is, I feel sorry for them, because if you are stand still, people are passing you. You are behind. It's not like you are in a good position. No, people are passing. So mentorship will help, especially women, to grow their career and to speed up the process, to be honest. I would say also education. And I'm not talking about getting a degree, because we have almost 70% of our university graduates are women, but education means a lot of things. Education means being educated and getting knowledge on so many different levels. So always learn something new, get involved in a training course or an education course or a master's degree, or even a degree in something that is a hobby for you, but not something that, we always think that if I want to grow in a career, I need to get all the certificates in that career. That's okay, but always you need to grow as a person. You need to grow in your awareness and your knowledge. So get a degree in something different than what you're used to. Get out of your comfort zone. And the first years of your life is actually where you can do that, because after that you are either specialist in something, you are involved in more projects, you are more focused. So try to do that as early as you can.
Thank you, Khadija. I'll go back to Shada now. And Shada, you have spent a few years leading the innovation journey for the federal government. I had a little bit insight into all of the hard work that you were doing, touring the UAE, looking for innovative solutions that were created by these entities. My question to you is, post-COVID, I think we all learned that technology has changed all of our lives. It enabled us to access everything and anything whenever we want from a touch of a button. Looking at the opportunity technology brings to every single home, where we are mothers, we have kids, all of the kids were on online learning. So every single mother was interacting with at least one platform throughout that time. What does this mean to the women today? How can they leverage on this opportunity of digital transformation, interacting with technology to create technology startups, to launch businesses from home, to create content, to contribute to the nation in one way or another? Do you think you can elaborate a little bit on this perspective?
Sure, Raja. This is not an easy situation with all the effects that the pandemic have posed or imposed on us. I mean, who would have imagined that this pandemic, and the ripple effect of it around the world? Before I answer this question, I just wanted to comment on my fellow panelists and their remarks. I mean, with Shamsa in the banking field and also Khadija in the media field. I mean, I second their comments as well. I mean, they were talking about the beginning of women probably journey in the UAE in these fields, which is a breakthrough. I mean, the nation is just very young. I remember, Raja, I've met you first and both of us were in Harvard and we had a coffee in Harvard Square. And at the moment, I just finished a decade of working in government and policy and economic development sectors. And after having 3 boys, and I took them with me to Boston, I was thinking, I want to give back. I want to, it's not easy to be a single woman working in this environment. And then suddenly you're married and then you have kids. And then I thought, okay, let me give back. Let me switch gears and let me focus on the future, focus on innovation. And I happened to be taking innovation courses from public sector innovation, social innovation, entrepreneurship, and also education innovation. And I was lucky to have taken a course that is called Growing Up in Media World. And back in 2013, 2014, when I was in Boston, I was totally thinking about the kids and how they're gonna interact in media and grow up dealing with all these channels and social media channels. So I thought, let me learn about something that I'm not personally, or let's say I'm not social media savvy myself. Coming back to the UAE and heading the innovation center since its establishment, I mean, we touch upon a lot of things. First of all, building the capabilities of this nation and the younger generation as well. Trying to instill the culture of innovation, the culture of entrepreneurship as well. I mean, I think the UAE, the nationals, it's in DNA to be entrepreneurs in the UAE. So it's not something new, but I think what COVID brought to us is when everyone was staying at home, I think it brought to us a sense of family union, a sense of responsibility as, let's say, citizens of this nation, and also people who are living over here, nationals and non-nationals as well. It also gave a sense of, let's say, I think family bonding also between the parents and the kids. I mean, I had to share my struggle among other female mothers who both were working and also supervising kids studying online. I'm not a teacher, and I salute all teachers and their efforts, and I do appreciate everything that they are doing to teach our kids. But I think combining the academic studies and also what's COVID and the technologies and the different technology avenues and platforms that everyone, not only kids, kids is dealing with. I mean, we have to know right now that AI is used to tailor the media content based on the clicks or the views that everyone is doing. And I think it's something that everyone should know. You know, the more I'm looking, let's say, at news, you know, if I'm watching Trump, the more Trump news will come. If I'm watching, let's say, educational or sports or fitness, nutrition, kids stuff, the more of it will come. And we should know, I mean, that the messages are very tailored towards us and our kids as well. So I think this is one aspect that everyone needs to keep in mind. I also agree with Khadija, continue to learn, moving into the future, since we are under this theme talking about learning towards the future. They're talking about the 21st century skills, and they're talking about now this 22nd century skills, which is to be resilient, to be able to live with people from every nation, to be able to accept different views, to be able to be tolerant as well. And this is not new for the UAE society. I mean, we've seen so many leadership positions in government, from the Minister of Tolerance, the Minister of Happiness and Well-being, the Minister of Youth, and these are all the Minister of AI as well, now the Minister of electronic or let's say digital economy as well. I mean, these are all to prepare for the future. And I believe that all the efforts that are happening right now in 2020 will help us to be more resilient, more prepared for the future. The roles that also women have taken in the UAE are not new. They've been always with the founding father of this nation, Sheikh Zayed, and he's been always encouraging women to take the lead. And this is not a strange thing for this leadership to this day, and I think continuing to the future. But the only thing that I think about as well, personally, I'm a mother of 3 boys, and I always think with the empowerment of women, you know, we should also empower the men to be brothers, husbands, fathers, supporters of women, because I believe that family unit is very important. And we shouldn't forget about the boys in the society as well, the men who are supporting us. I don't think that we could have achieved this without them as well, because, and I know, Raja, you're also a mother of 2 boys as well, and I'm sure you're instilling women support and encouragement and, you know, all these values. So this is what I think, you know, we should continue to encourage in our society, and both encourage women and men to give back and build this nation.
Thank you so much, Shada. These were very inspiring insights. I really appreciate it. Shada, if you want to share with us a female Emirati inspiring figure that have inspired you in your life, and how did that figure inspired you? Would you be able to share a little bit on that note?
Well, I think, you know, I've been so lucky to have met a lot of inspiring Emirati women. And I think I was so lucky to have met as well the mother of the nation, Sheikh Fatima. And I remember graduating from the university where I was in Dubai. I was the first woman to go to the States. And when I came back to celebrate the graduation with everyone, Sheikh Fatima held my hand and said, you know, how proud she is of this achievement. And it was such a breakthrough, because I was the first Emirati, and I think a few months later, other Emirati students who have finished their bachelor degrees went to study abroad. This wasn't new. I mean, Sheikh Fatima has been behind every, I think, successful woman in this nation. But I've also been lucky to have met personally and work with so many women in this nation, from Her Excellency Rima Al-Hashmi, Ahud Al-Rumi, Shamma Al-Mazrou'i, Maryam Harab, all the ministers, and also not only in the ministerial positions, you know, in other positions among the workforce. But I also would like to talk about my mother. My mother has been educated abroad in a time where no one was educated abroad. She was among the pioneer women in the UAE in the 70s, where they came back from studying abroad. She was a doctor. She worked for 35 years, raised 7 children to be very successful, and she was very humble, quiet, instilled family values for us, still very traditional. So I think, I look at her, and now that I have 3 children, I can just imagine how difficult and challenging this is. And I really appreciate her humility, sense of empathy, and how much she always told us, always pause, give back to the society, look around you, find if someone needs you in the family, needs your help, but also don't forget about yourself, to meditate, to think, to give to yourself as well, and be proud of yourself. So I think my journey so far has been so fortunate with all the women that I meet, and also I was lucky to meet other inspirational women, and I appreciate the journey of every woman, local and non-local as well.
Thank you so much, Shada. This is really inspiring, and I really enjoyed the conversation with you, with Khadija and Shamsa. It's really great to be able to take a little bit of your time away from your busy schedules to share and inspire a wider audience. On this note, I would like to thank you all, and I would like also to recognize my all-female team colleagues that work with me at the FinTech Hive. We call them the Fantastic Four. We have Fatma, Shireen, Mariam, and Armi. We are an all-female team, super empowered and super passionate about everything that we do here, and we support each other every step of the way. So I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize all the work that they have been contributing to the development and advancement of the FinTech sector in the region. Thank you all, and I look forward to hosting you in the future. And also we will reach out to you to onboard you on our Accelerator program, because all of you would be amazing mentors to the ladies that we have in the cohort. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raja.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raja.
Thank you.